کې هم دا واورېده چې دا مکتوبونه خلاصیږي، خو د ټولو ذهن په دغه ځای کې دا چې دا ښځې چې فارغ هم سي له فانتوم څخه د دغه لپاره وروسته کوم وظیفې کار چې د دغه لپاره حکومت کوم داسې یو دغه ورته جوړ کړی د پروګرام چې دوی به مثال کوم کار کوي آینده کې څنګه چې په جمهوریت کې بیا هم ښځو کولی شوی چې یو پلانې کې واید رینج کې جو اپلای کې خو اوس ډېر لیمیټډ ده. نو دولت کوم د ښځو لپاره داسې کوم پروګرام لري چې دوی چې فارغ هم سي له فانتوم څخه دوی باید مخ ته مثال باید څه وکړي؟
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. د افغانستان اسلامي امارت په هیواد کې د یو حاکم مسؤل او مشروع نظام په توګه د میرمنو له تعلیم او همدارنګه کار سره د شریعت په چوکاټ کې کوم مخالفت نه لري. منتها خبره په ظروف او شرایطو کې ده او اسلامي امارت هڅه او کوشش کوي چې په تدریج سره میرمنو ته د کار شرایط برابر کړي او تر یو حده پورې برابر شوي دي. که تاسې ماته اجازه راکړئ زه په دې مسله باندې څه وضاحت درکوم. موږ په ټول افغانستان کې 2,42,000 ښوونکي لرو چې د هغوی له جملې څخه 92,000 یې ښځینه ښوونکي دي چې د ټولو ښوونکو 38 سلنه جوړوي او له لومړي ټولګي نه تر شپږم ټولګي پورې 20 لکه یا 2 میلیونه او 2 لکه یا 2.7 میلیونه نجونې مکاتبو ته ځي په منظم ډول باندې. او همدارنګه د خپل د پوهنې وزارت په ځینو ریاستونو کې لکه منابع بشري ریاست، معرف شهري ریاست، د شهادتنامو ریاست او همدارنګه ځینې نور ریاستونو کې ښځینه کارمندانې په منظم ډول هره ورځ خپلو دندو ته حاضرېږي. همدارنګه او امتیازات ورکول کېږي او په ټول افغانستان کې موږ داسې کوم یو مورد نه لرو چې یوه ښځینه کارکوونکې یا ښوونکې د له دندې څخه منفکه شوې وي. نو اسلامي امارت چون دا د لویو میرمنو یا نجونو درس او کار ته راتلل په کلتوري لحاظ څخه اساسا مسله ده، نو ځکه اسلامي امارت غواړي په احتیاط، تدریج او اعتدال سره په دې موضوع کې مخ په وړاندې ولاړ شي او اسلامي امارت پلان لري چې د ظروف او شرایطو په برابرولو سره به انشاءالله د میرمنو د تعلیم او کار په موضوع کې کوم ځنډ او خنډ راغلی په خپل وخت او مناسب فرصت سره انشاءالله دغه ستونزې حل شي.
خیر سي لطیف نظری صاحب تاسو په دې باره کې هم یو څه بیان کړئ. بله نظری صاحب. Sasu mute them. Sasu mute them. Can you please speak for us, Nazari sir?
Yes. Do you have my voice?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. I want to read my article completely because I have another meeting. Now I want to start my article. Okay?
Okay.
Do you have my voice, sir?
We can hear you, Nazari sir. We can hear you.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Yes, we can hear you, Nazari sir. We can speak. Do give your comments on
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, first of all, hello to all the participants of this webinar, and I thank all the organizers of this webinar, especially the managers of Common Pak Afghan Online Jirga. Education has a special importance in every country. The importance of education in Afghanistan is much more than other countries because Afghanistan has been backward educationally and scientifically as a result of many years war and occupation of foreign forces. The Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan has a special attention to the schools and universities. Nowadays, all the universities of Afghanistan are active and the doors of the universities are not closed to any student. And about the reopening of schools for girls who are higher than 6th class, I must remind that the doors of schools will be open for all Afghan girls and the same as universities soon. But it should be noted that the people of Afghanistan not only want that the doors of schools for girls must be open, but also the content and text of the materials must be reviewed as well. The people of Afghanistan also want that the Islamic hijab must be observed and the religious, national, and historical values of Afghanistan must be proposed as well. The education must not be affected by Western values in Afghanistan. In the during of 20 past years, the educational materials have been affected by foreign values. Now that Afghanistan became independent, the people of Afghanistan want that the education must be changed not only according to the content, but also the appearance as well. During the 20 past years, the education has been affected and shaped by the 23 program where the Western values have been delivered to students of schools and universities. Now, the people of Afghanistan want that their young generation not only go to schools and university, but also live with their religious and national values as well. We are an independent country, and we want that the education must be compatible with our religious and national values and cultures. Thank you very much.
Thank you for stating your opinion on this, Nazari Sahib.
ما خو د تاسو د سوال جواب ورکو کوم نظر سم جرګې ته راوړی هغه مې نه د شریک کړی که یو فرصت راکړی چې به د خپل مجموعي نظرم بیا شریک کړم په خپل نوبت سره سیار وخت تاسې لازم او مناسب وبولئ.
تاسو شریک.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. تر هر څه نه مخکې د پاک افغان محترمو مسؤلینو او غړو د نننۍ انلاین جرګې ټولو ګډون کوونکو او ټولو هغو اوریدونکو او لیدونکو ته چې په ژوندۍ بڼه د دې جرګې جریان ویني او اوري سلامونه او نیکې هیلې وړاندې کوو. السلام علیکم ورحمت الله وبرکاتو. غواړو د نننۍ جرګې له ټولو دایروونکو او ګډون کوونکو څخه مننه وکړو چې له خپلو زیاتو بوختیاوو سره سره داسې یوه مفیده جرګه تنظیم کړې ده او ویناوالو ته یې د خپل نظر د شریکولو لپاره یو مناسب فرصت برابر کړی دی. اجازه راکړئ ترڅو د افغانستان اسلامي امارت د پوهنې وزارت په استازیتوب د موضوع په اړه چې عنوان یې دی په افغانستان والو او لیدونکو سره خپل لنډ معلومات شریک کړو. د افغانستان اسلامي امارت په هیواد کې د یو مسؤل، مشروع او حاکم نظام په توګه د ټولو افغانانو په تیره بیا میرمنو او نجونو ټولو شرعي حقوقو په ځانګړې توګه د تعلیم حق ته متعهد او ژمن دی او دا خپله شرعي او ملي وجیبه ګڼي ترڅو افغان میرمنو او نجونو ته د زده کړې مسؤن او مناسب شرایط او چاپیریال برابر کړي. درنو ګډونوالو، تاسې په جریان کې یاست چې د افغانستان د 2,42,601 تنو ښوونکو له جملې څخه 92,401 تنه یې ښځینه ښوونکي دي چې د ټولو ښوونکو څه د پاسه 38 سلنه جوړوي. له لومړي ټولګي څخه تر شپږم ټولګي پورې 2,10,909 تنه نجونې چې د ټولو زده کوونکو څه د پاسه 26 سلنه جوړوي په منظم ډول هره ورځ خپلو ښوونځیو ته د زده کړې لپاره حاضریږي. د پوهنې وزارت په هغو ادارو کې چې د میرمنو مراجعه زیاته ده لکه د شهادتنامو او نتایجو ریاست او د بشري سرچینو عمومي ریاست، ښځینه کارمندانې هره ورځ په منظم ډول خپلو دندو ته حاضریږي. په اونۍ کې یو ځل د پوهنې وزارت ټول ښځینه کارکوونکي د خپلو حاضریو د لاسلیک کولو لپاره وزارت ته راځي. که څه هم د پوهنې وزارت زیاتره ښځینه کارکوونکي په خپلو دندو کې فزیکي حضور نه لري، خو معاشونه او نور امتیازات یې په منظم ډول ورکول کیږي. تر اوسه پورې په ټول هیواد کې داسې څه پېښ شوي نه دي چې د پوهنې وزارت کومه ښځینه کارمنده دي له خپلې دندې څخه ګوښه شوې یا له معاش او امتیازاتو څخه بې برخه شوې وي. په مرکز او ولایاتو کې چې کله تعلیمي بستونه آزادې سیالۍ ته سپارل کیږي، یوه ځانګړې سلنه یې میرمنو ته ځانګړې کیږي. د بیلګې په ډول کله چې له نن څخه یوه میاشت وړاندې د کابل ښار او ولسوالیو 1,893 تعلیمي بستونه آزادې سیالۍ ته وسپارل شول، 215 بستونه چې د ټولو بستونو تقریبا 15 سلنه جوړوي میرمنو ته ځانګړي شوي وو. دا چې وخت په وخت په ځینو لویدیځو مطبوعاتو کې د اسلامي امارت د منسوبینو له لوري له میرمنو سره د زور زیاتي او یا د میرمنو د حقوقو د پایمال کولو په تړاو ځینې ګنګوسې خپریږي، هیڅ اساس او بنسټ نه لري، بلکې له دغو بې اساسو تبلیغاتو څخه یوازینی هدف دا دی چې د اسلامي امارت سیاسي او ټولنیز وجاهت ته زیان ورسیږي. اسلامي امارت په جدیت سره کار کوي چې د اسلام د مقدس دین د اساساتو او افغاني فرهنګ له غوښتنو سره سم له 1 نه تر 12 ټولګي پورې د نجونو د ښوونځیو د پرانیستلو لپاره هم یو میکانیزم جوړ او پلی کړي او په دې برخه کې عملاً هم څه ناڅه پرمختګونه شوي دي. د یادونې وړ ده چې یاد ښوونځي تړل شوي نه بلکې معطله کړای شوي دي او دغه معطلې دایمي نه بلکې موقتي ده. یوه یادونه کول ضروري ګڼو هغه دا چې موږ خپلو هیوادوالو په تیره بیا د میرمنو د تعلیم لپاره د زمینې مساعدولو په برخه کې د یو مسؤلیت او تعهد په اساس کار او هڅې کوو او په دې برخه کې د خپل ولس مشروع غوښتنې په نظر کې نیسو، نه د بهرنیو جهتونو د خوشحالولو او د هغوی د فشارونو د کمولو لپاره. البته ټول هغه جهتونه او هیوادونه چې له اسلامي امارت سره د تعلیم او د ژوندانه په نورو ډګرونو کې مرستې کوي، موږ یې تقدیر او مننه کوو او له هغوی څخه هیله لرو چې له 40 کلن بحران څخه راوتلی افغانستان یوازې پرې نه ږدي. یو ځل بیا خپل ګران ملت ته ډاډ ورکوو چې اسلامي امارت به د خپلو هیوادوالو د حقوقو د ادا کولو په برخه کې هیڅ ډول غفلت ونه کړي. ان شاء الله تعالی. والسلام.
مننه کوم عزیز صاحب. Ahmad Rayan Sahab has given us great comments on regarding education, and he's saying that the government itself has taken extreme measures into reopening the schools and also facilitating women graduate afterwards when they graduate. So positive comments were said, and they were actually very not great. They were actually very great. So I have a comment though. As Aziz Rahman Sahib, دغه سوال هم د هر چا په ذهن کې دی چې دا کوم مکتوبونه په اطرافو کې دي، دا کوم مکتوبونه مثال په جنګ کې مات شوي دي، خراب شوي دي، دغه تاسو بیرته له سرې بیرته جوړوئ او خلکو ته تاسو څه پیغام لرئ چې خپل د کور نجونې نه لیږي مکتبو ته؟ دغه باید کې تاسو یو کمنټ ورکړئ.
بله، دا یو مسلم حقیقت دی چې په افغانستان کې 43 کاله یوه خونړۍ جګړه تېره شوله دې جګړې د افغانستان مادي او معنوي بنسټونه ونړول. د ښوونځیو او پوهنتونونو ودانۍ هم په دې جګړه کې زیاتې متاثرې شوې. د دې لپاره د پوهنې وزارت په 2 لارو چارو کار کوي. یو خپله د پوهنې وزارت په بودیجه کې د مکاتبو د بیا ترمیم او همدارنګه د نوو مکتبونو د جوړولو لپاره خپل تخصیص او ځانګړې بودیجه شته. او دوهم موږ له نړیوالو او سیمه ییزو خیریه نهادونو سره په دوامدار ډول په رابطه کې یو ترڅو د مکاتبو د تعمیراتو په برخه کې له موږ سره همکاري وکړي. د بیلګې په ډول له نن نه 1.5 اونۍ مخکې موږ د انګلستان د الخیر فاونډیشن له رئیس سره ملاقات درلود. هغه ژمنه وکړه چې په اول قدم کې به په افغانستان کې 100 ښوونځي او وروسته نورې ښوونځي تعمیرات جوړوي. نو په دې برخه کې په جدیت سره کار روان دی. او د پوښتنې دوهمه برخه سي تاسو پیغام هغو خلکو ته څنګه رسي هغوی نه غواړي خپلې نجونې مکاتبو ته ولاړ سي. اصلا ما مخکې یادونه وکړه په افغانستان کې د لویو نجونو له کوره وتل یا د کار او تعلیم لپاره تلل په مجموع کې یو حساسه کلتوري مسله ده. کله چې اسلامي امارت د نجونو د کار او تعلیم لپاره د میرمنو د کار او تعلیم لپاره یو مناسب ماحول او چاپیریال برابر کړي نو بیا به موږ هیوادوال په دغه چاپیریال باندې مطمئن وي، اعتماد او باور به ولري او ان شاء الله په دې برخه کې به بیا د خپلو لورانو خوندو ته په اطمینان سره اجازه ورکوي چې تعلیمي مراکز او دفاترو ته حضور پیدا کړي.
شکریہ. خیر ویسے Aziz Sahib has given actually great comments on, because I asked him if in rural areas there are families that don't send off their girls to schools because of cultural reasons, and he has said that they've been actually going to several provinces telling people about this to take this forward. So what are your comments on that, Wahid Faqiri Sahib, if you can please give us your opinion.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, we can.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Bale.
It is really a pleasure to be here and to express my view and opinions on such an important issue. With all respect, with all due respect to our panelists and particularly to Mr. Rayan, I believe that the decision to ban girls from school is a very sad one. It's sad for Afghanistan. It's detrimental, harmful to Afghanistan, to the aspirations of Afghan girls and Afghan people in large. I think most Afghans do want their children to go to school, to be educated, and to deny them these opportunities, this basic human right, I believe, is deplorable. I do not agree with the decisions of the Emirat on this issue. I have expressed my view strongly on this issue. I think they are making a big mistake regarding girl educations. They should reconsider. This is also, I believe, giving the Afghan a very bad image. We Afghan had a negative image before in the Western world. You know, we were portrayed as backward, as kind of people who do not see the requirement of the modern age. And we were also portrayed as people who oppose human rights, women's rights particularly. I think this decisions of Emirat has enforced that image, enforced that concept that really there is a segment, a strong segment within the Emirat who are opposed to women's educations, to girls' educations. The decision was also very sudden. I mean, Mr. Rayan is here, and he just a day before that decision, he assured all of us that the girl will go to school, and even some went to school. They were in the class, and then suddenly they reversed their decision. It seems like this is a political decision. It does not relate to environment, because if the environment is not ready for girls from 6 to up, how is it ready for girls who are going to university, who are going to private schools? I mean, this is very contradictions, you know, very clear contradictions in their statement, in their view. I believe it is a very political decisions, and it is so unpopular within Afghanistan that no Taliban leader has come forward to acknowledge and to admit that he or they made this decisions. It is very ambiguous, you know. No one knows who made the decisions and who are behind it. I mean, this is really, this portrays the entire government in a very negative light, give them a very negative image. I believe they should reconsider. They should allow the woman to go to school. Afghans, girls. Another issue is, Mr. Hotak, that even in some provinces, girls are allowed to go to school. And how is it, you know, in one province, it is an Islamic environment. In another province, there is no Islamic environment. I mean, this is a very clear contradictions, and there is no justifications for it. As far as I know, I have traveled all over Afghanistan. I don't see any oppositions among the Afghans toward girls' educations. And regarding the environment, I think Afghan girls, their uniform is probably the most conservative uniform in the region. In the entire region, when they go to school, they have a black attire and white scarf. I mean, I really don't know what else they can do in order to satisfy the Emirate. And I would say that the decision is a political decisions. It's a way probably for Emirate to gain more money from the international community, or they probably think that they can negotiate, they can bargain. This is a piece of bargaining chip that they can use against the international community. But they don't know that they are harming a whole generations. You know, when you lose 1 year of your education, particularly when you are young, when you are in such a young age, it costs you a lot in the long run, you know, and plus it really disappoints many Afghan women to go to school, and they force many Afghan parents to leave Afghanistan and to go to immigrate to other countries. So I believe that what Mr. Rayan said was, I mean, doesn't make any sense to me or to many Afghans, particularly in Kabul, or those who in the big cities, Kandahar, Herat, in the big cities, people are eager to send their girls to school. The decision of Emirate is forbidding them to gain educations, to be educated. Mr. Hotak, I'll share a story. Brief. My mother was educated in Kandahar in the 50s. She was the first woman, girl who graduated from Zarghuna school. At that time, it was just up to 6th grade. They didn't have a higher than 6th grade. And she still regrets. She's 84 years old woman now. She still regrets that she couldn't continue her educations. So I believe that many Afghan women and girls will regret these decisions. And I call on the leadership of Emirate to reconsider. This is not just giving Afghan bad name, negative image, as I say. It costs these girls a lot, in the long run, as my mother now regret that decisions, or that there was no opportunity, the opportunity was not there to go to school. These girls will really become opposed to the Emirat, and they will remember this for the rest of their life. I will answer your questions. If there is more questions, then I will allow other panelists to speak on this issue. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Aziz. I would like if Miss Rabia, if you could please state your opinion on this, on the closure of schools and the future of girls in Afghanistan.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for having me here today on, this is a very, very important topic, very important issue, because we believe that girls have to be educated, because not just because they can go out and work, but also because they have to be educated mothers. When they're educated mothers, they invest in their children better, they raise their children better. And it's very, very important that we prioritize girls' education. Girls' education is maybe more important than boys' education when we're talking about building societies. And when we talk about, when I look at the current government, I believe that they are very keen to build their nation in the way they wish to, maybe, or in the way that works, it fits with their culture. So it's important that the girls are educated, actually, if they want to achieve their, their own vision and their own goal as a nation. So I really believe that it's important. And I've heard brother before, and he said that the environment is not maybe suitable. Maybe the curriculum that they is very much influenced by West. And that's fine, and if they want to change the curriculum, I think that as a country, they have that choice, they have that independence to do so. But if boys can read that curriculum currently, right now, then why girls should be restricted from it? And developing curriculum and developing new course books, aligning it with their own national interest, that's a long process. That's not going to happen overnight. And my main point is that, if that you want to do that, I think curriculum revision is always important. You want this to be up to date. You want the curriculum to be meeting the demands of not your own economy development, but also the global development as well, because you want to be part of that whole global development that's going on at the moment. No country can survive on its own at the moment. So you have to be connected. But that should not mean that girls should be restricted from education. That should not mean that girls are not allowed. That should not mean that you give them hope and then you take that hope back from them, because that's even more, emotionally, I think it's more traumatic. Girls are as human beings as boys are. And they have same wishes, they have same aspirations, they have dreams, they have life. And I think the community has a responsibility towards their girls as well, because who else is going to give them that facilitation, that platform, that support, so they can also get an education, so they can raise better children, so they can make sure their nutrition, their health is good, their children's health is good, their family health is good, so they can make sure they invest in their own communities and develop the communities. I think Afghanistan has been through so much, in the last many decades, even before, obviously, it's always been in the war, one way or another. So that has to, if you want to revert the impact of all the destruction and all the everything that has happened, education and girls' education should be prioritized. I mean, I, as a Muslim, I feel that, I would want to prioritize girls' education, because I know that girls can play their part, very important part as well. Cultural values is a different thing, should be considered, should be kept separately. And they should be integrated in you follow your cultural values. That shouldn't be a problem. And when we do work in Pakistan, we go into many different communities. Every community may have a different cultural values. In the Balochistan, people may have different values. In Sindh, people may have different thought process, and you have to accept that. I think that the education should not be about changing that. Education should be more about empowering the girls, empowering the communities, so the country, the nation can grow together as they should. Thank you very much.
Earlier I asked Aziz about people in rural areas that have a hard time sending their girls to school in general, even in the previous government. But even in Pakistan rural areas, there are people like that that don't send their girls to study even secondary schools.
Yes.
So Aziz said that they were actually going from province to province, convincing people to send off their girls to school when the schools get reopened. So what do you suggest that they also do to further to convince people into sending girls to school?
Okay, so when we are going into communities, we stick to a very traditional method of convincing people. We have our religious leaders engaged in Pakistan. We've had a national campaign launched just in the end of December, because we work with our religious leaders, because they're very influential in their communities. They can put that message out in a better way. People listen to them through Jummah, at the Jummah time, or even through engaging with the wives of the religious leaders in the community, especially to engage with the mothers and to make them understand, and really just engaging with the community. So we have, for example, a community mobilizers network across Pakistan who come from the local areas, and they go into those areas because they understand better the cultural the norms of that particular area, maybe that village, or in Pakistan we have different provinces, so it may be slightly different in Punjab and different in KP. So it's very important to have local role models, local community people, champions, education champions, and this local network should be mobilized, that can then go out and raise awareness, especially in the rural areas where people may have less understanding of the value of girls' education. I think that's something very important. We don't bring in any technology, we don't do anything like that, because we find this method is the most effective, most cost effective, and most impactful as well. Because when people are engaged, then they take more interest in their children's education, especially the girls' education, and they want the girls to be educated. So I think Afghanistan, I feel that is still at a better position, because in Pakistan our population is very big, right? And that population size is the biggest hurdle to education in Pakistan, especially for girls, because access is the biggest problem. So in Afghanistan, we still don't have that issue as at that scale we have in Pakistan. So it's much easier for the government of Afghanistan to address that issue in Afghanistan, inshallah. I think, it may take much longer in Pakistan for us to actually make sure every single child, every single girl is in school at primary level, at secondary level. I think Afghanistan can do a better job than Pakistan in this regard, because the scale is not that big, but they need to take that decision. I think, that, and they need to stick to that decision. I think, changing those decisions also send very wrong messages, last minute change in decisions. We were very much looking forward for the schools opening, and we were very happy to hear that, schools will be opening, girls' schools will be opening. But then it was really sad to hear that, the school girls couldn't go to school. Of course, media play its part. Of course, they may propagate more, etc. But of course, the incidents have happened, and that is then picked up, and that's, scaled up as well, right? We know that it happens in Pakistan, it happens in many countries, it happens everywhere pretty much. But I think the important thing is that the government must take girls' education seriously, especially for the nation building. I mean, that's what I would keep saying again and again, that education in a country like Afghanistan right now, where economy is in crisis, where nation is in crisis, as a nation you're in crisis, it's important that education is given priority, girls' education is given priority. And while the government works on the curriculum, redesigning, reevaluating what they're teaching, what they're not teaching, please don't stop that process. Let that process happen, and keep creating that awareness, that in terms of what the government is trying to do, that communication is very, very important, and it needs to be very clear with everybody, all the citizens of Afghanistan, in terms of how the government is looking to go forward with the girls' education, what changes they're looking to bring in. I think that's all good. I think there's no problem with that. I think that's, I think it's very important that everybody, every stakeholder or people from the civil society, we remain supportive of that process, because we don't want that process to stop. You see, we want the girls to be in school, and we need to be able to support whatever the government needs from, people in Afghanistan or civil society in Afghanistan. just to make sure the girls are in school. I think, and then, over time things happen, and over time changes can take place as well, inshallah.
Thank you, Ms. Rabia. I would like to ask Hasiba Effat. Ms. Hasiba, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
We would like to know what the women of Afghanistan want. What is your opinion on that regarding the closure of schools and the future of girls in Afghanistan?
You can question in Pashto or Farsi.
Okay. دا سوال ده چې ښځې په افغانستان کې څه غواړي، دوی څه نظریه لري په دغه باره کې چې د مکتبونو اوس فعلا بند شوي دي او آینده به څنګه وي، نظریه ستا خپل څه شی دی؟
ډېره مننه له تاسو نه او د پاک افغان نهاد څخه او ټولو ته سلام و احترامات وړاندې کوم. بسیار تشکر. من میتونم انگلیسی هم صحبت کنم، اما فکر میکنم که مقصد خود را نمیتونم انتقال بدم. دوستایی که به دری یا فارسی میفهمن امیدوار هستم که نظریات مرا بگیرن. تشکر از شما که به این موضوع بسیار مهم پرداختین، خصوصا در وضعیتی که امروز افغانستان قرار داره و دخترها متاسفانه به مکتب نمیرن، از آموزش دور ماندین. قبل از اینکه به سوال شما پاسخ بدم، من میخوایم که شروع کنم با یک آیه قرآن، امی نظریه خود رایی که خداوند در قرآن کریم فرموده شده که آیا کسانی که میدانند و کسانی که نمیدانند برابر هستند؟ برابر طبعا که اینا برابر نیستند. پس از اینجا ما اهمیت علم و دانش برای همه اقشار جامعه، برای زنان و برای مردان، قسمی که اسلام فرض گردانیده و بالای زن و مرد مسلمان علم فرض هست، اهمیتشان درک میکنیم. بنان امروزه که دخترها به مکتب نمیرن، من فکر میکنم که هیچ بهانه وجود نداره و دخترها باید به مکتب برن. میخوایم از دو سه نظر موضوع اهمیت علم و دانش را بگوییم و خصوصا ای که در جامعه افغانستان چقدر نقش داره، چون نیمی از نفوس و یا بیشتر از نفوس افغانستان را زنان تشکیل میدن. پس نیاز هست که زنان افغانستان هم در آموزش، در کار و در جامعه نقش خودشون داشته باشن، در اجتماع نقش خودشون داشته باشن. شما ببینین وقتی که یک کسی مادر هست، یک طفل از دامان مادرش تربیت میشه. یک طفل از دامان مادرش یاد میگیره که باید چی کارهای خوب است انجام بده در آینده و چی کارهای خوب نیست انجام بده. شما ببینید اصلی ترین عنصری است امو دامن مادر یا دامان مادر که فرزند در او پرورش پیدا میکنه. از اینجا معلوم میشه که وقتی که یک دختر، یک زن علم و دانش را فرا گرفت، اون میتونه که بر همه جامعه می علمش گسترش بده. وقتی که این طفلش به آموزه های اسلامی مثلا آشنا ساخت و ای که رفتار انسانی را در جامعه پیاده بکنه آشنا ساختش، مثلا کارهای خوب را برش آشنا بسازه، کارهای بد را برش آشنا بسازه، طبعا که جامعه مرهون اعظمی تربیه که طفلی را که مادر در خانه، در اجتماع کوچک خانواده بر طفلش میاموزه، این طبعا تاثیر کلانش در جامعه خود داشت، در یک کشور خود داشت، بالاخره در جهان خود داشت. طبعا که هرگز بعضی ها متاسفانه امروز ادعا میکنن که زن باید در خانه باشه، باید کار بکنه، شوهرداری بکنه و یا اما طفلش سرپرستی بکنه. درست است، اینا هم از مسئولیت های یک زن هست، اما یک زنی که نفهمه، کور باشه، ناآگاه باشه، او چگونه میتونه که یک مردی رو تربیت کنه در جامعه که او مرد بتونه یا او زن بتونه در جامعه خودش مؤثر واقع شود، سبب پیشرفت ترقی جامعه شود. ما سالهای گذشته ما معلم یکی از مکاتب دخترانه بودم. یعنی شما باور بکنین که ما بیشتر از سوال شما از دوست ما که پرسان کردین، بعضی خانواده ها هستند که متاسفانه چون جامعه ما سنتی هست، جامعه ما تقریبا عقب مانده هست، خصوصا بعضی امی اطرافا یا قریجات افغانستان. یعنی ما تلاش میکردم که به اهمیت علم و دانش پدر یک خانواده را، برادر یک خانواده را مثلا آگاه بسازم که دخترشون اجازه بدن که اینا بیایه به مکتب درس بخوانه و در فرهنگ سازی جامعه، در پیشرفت آینده یک کشور باید اینا سهم بگیرن. شما میفهمین که یک مادر است که آینده یک انسان را البته رقم میزنه و ما یک جامعه کارآمد زمان خود داشتیم که یک مادر یا یک زن و یک کشور، یک دولت در تربیت نسل‌های آینده خودشان کوشا باشند. امروز ما ببینیم که بسیاری از زنان هستند، متاسفانه اگر ما از این نگاه ببینیم بسیاری از زنان هستند که اگر محدود بسازیم زنها را که در خانه باشند، خیلی از زنهای هستند. من دیروز یک خانم دیدم که کراچی به دستش بود در رسانه‌های اجتماعی و میخواست که کار بکنه. یا هم اینا زیادتر زنها امروزه در بعضیشون در سرک هستند. چی در دور جمهوریت متاسفانه کار نشده به خاطر یک زنها بتونن به پیشرفت نائل شوند و حال متاسفانه یعنی یک بلای سنگین دیگه به سر زنان افغانستان متاسفانه آمده که این دخترهایی را که ما میشناسیم، امروزشان تماس داریم، گریه میکنن که ما یگانه امید ما آموختن علم و دانش بود. این به این است که حتما ما کار از اینا رو در نظر بگیریم و فکر کنیم که اینا یک درآمد فردا داشته باشن. هرچند از این نگاه هم باید ما زیاد زنایی را داریم که سرپرست خانواده هایشان هستند امروز و نیاز است که اونا کار بکنن، اما بدون کار کردن هم ذهنیت هر انسان نیاز به آگاهی داره، نیاز به ای داره که بشناسه امی هدف با وجود آمدنش درک بکنه. بنان ای در کجا مساعد میشه این مسیر؟ البته میتونه یاد بگیره او را طبعا که نخست از خانواده، از مادر در طفولیت و بعد از او در مکتب و در دانشگاه و بالاخره تا ای که هر چیزی که در جامعه ضرورتش احساس میشه میتونه یک زن کار بکنه. ما میخوایم به سوال شما بپردازم که متاسفانه فعلا آینده دخترای افغانستان امروز همشون در یک سردرگمی قرار دارن. یعنی هیچ چیزی وضاحت داده نشده به چه دلیلی مثلا مکاتب دخترانه امروزه بسته هستند. آیا مسئله کرونا نیست؟ چون ما یک سال گذشته را متاسفانه همه پانهنتونای افغانستان رخصت بودن به دلیل از اینکه امراض کرونا شیوع پیدا نکنه. یک سال اونا بیشتر از 6 ماه، یک سال از او طریق از درس ماندن و امروزه نمیفهم به دلایل که چی وجود داره. چون دخترای افغان مثل که بیشتر دوست پنلیست ما صحبت کردن حجاب دارن، لباس سیاه بطنشان هست. هیچگاه مردم افغانستان و دخترای افغانستان، زن افغانستان نخواسته که خدای نخواسته خودش باعث بی‌عزتی خانوادهش و یا کشورش باشه. اینا حجابشان دارن، چادر دارن و میخواین که به درسشان ادامه بدن و طبعا که امروز فکر میکنن که آینده خوبی نخواد داشتن اگر مکاتبشان بسته بانه.
انشالله عزیز احمد گفته که انشالله و میشه بخیر و نظریات شما تشکر. فقیری سر که تاسو د حسیبه مس حسیبه دغه څه ترجمان کوي زموږ میلمانو ته چې
I think the gist of her statement was that a society cannot move forward without full women participations, and particularly in the modern age, where education is so important. It is not just for finding a job, but for raising educated family, educated children. Women's education is essential for providing such an environment at home for their children. So if you have an educated mother, you will have educated children. And also another part of her statement was that the decision that the Emirate has taken has psychologically impacted many Afghan women and girls, particularly girls. They are disappointed. They have their hope have been crushed. They were very excited to go to school, but now with this decision, they don't know what will happen to their future. Another part of her statement was that Afghan women and girls are already adhering, respecting the cultural norms of Afghanistan. They are the most conservative clothing or attire that they have in the region. They don't want to imitate the West. They want to contain themselves within the Afghan cultures. So there is no reason, no justification for the ban that already the Emirate has put in there. Another part of her was that she understands that there are some segments of Afghan society, particularly in rural area, where there are conservative norms, conservative traditions, and the government and the Afghans should respect it. But there are different cities are different, urban area are different, Kabul is different, Kandahar, Herat, and other urban area are different. And if a woman can participate at the market, selling products, why is it she not allowed to go to school? I mean, if she can, they cook bolani, we call it bolani, it's a kind of food on the street. They participate in other part of the economy, but they cannot participate in school, going to school. There is a clear contradictions. I think that was the main points of her statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Effat. Thank you so much. If Dr. Salma Malik, if you can please state your opinion on this, on girls' closure of schools and the future of girls in Afghanistan.
Assalamu alaikum, and I'm extremely grateful, Dera Manana, for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm sorry, my Pashto ends here only. The speakers before me have said amazing stuff, and technically I really don't have anything newer to add to it. But few things that I would re-emphasize and talk more about. The more you emphasize on the fact that girls' education is pertinent, the less it is. There is no substitute, or there is no alternative to this particular notion that the girls need to get educated. If you look at Afghanistan today, it's a country of 38.93 million people, in which women roughly are 50% of the population group. By denying them the basic right to educate means that we are at present denying 50% of the population from a fundamental basic, I would actually call it a human right, to not only educate themselves. In fact, this decision today is going to affect the lifestyle, the mindset, the culture, the progression, as well as progress of the state of Afghanistan tomorrow. I have few very fundamental questions. My dear friend Fajer and Miss Effat have brought up, and Wahid Saab as well, have brought up some very important points. My basic question is that where in Islam is it written that women should not be part of seeking education? I'm not an Islamic scholar, and pardon if I go wrong in saying anything that I'm saying here, but whenever we read, when the first word of Islam was uttered, that was Ikra. And whenever we hear about educating ourselves, so it is mentioned that educate yourself. It is not mentioned you men educate yourself, or women need not educate themselves. It is mentioned that educate yourself, and even Islam, a young, progressive, absolutely logical, and one of the most practical religions of the world, ended up saying that seek education even if you have to go to a far-flung place as China. That's what our Prophet said. And by saying China, that didn't mean that you would seek religious education in China. That actually meant that you're going to seek some very alternate education in China, which is not going to be Islamic education. But that actually meant that seek education of all varieties. Your mind is a fertile organism. So get as much of knowledge in that mind as possible. And especially, nowhere do we find that the edicts of our religion, the teachings of our religion are restricted to any one gender. It is an education which is universal and open to all. So if it is an education which is open to all, if it is a book of information, it is to be followed by all the people, then how can we as simple humans restrict education to one particular gender or not to another particular gender? So my basic plea here is that if you want to seek education, if you want to have a progressive Afghanistan, an Afghanistan that can actually follow its entire culture, tradition, its civilizational code, whatever Afghanistan stands for today, the only way Afghanistan can exist in the future world order is if it educates its entire population. If Pakistan has, Fajer, mashallah, knows far more about, because she is totally invested in primary to higher education, in the education sector, and the figures in Pakistan are dismal, that is by no means a benchmark for Afghanistan to follow suit. That, okay, our neighbor is not doing it, so why should we? If your neighbor is not doing it, you shouldn't do that either. You should actually take another path. And because you're starting from ground zero, you have all the space to provide education to the girls. It is not a question of today. If you deprive 50% of the population from education, my second question is, what do you get out of it? Is there any logic to not allowing women to seek education? Afghanistan's 46.6% population is under the age of 15, and 61.88% population is between the age 0 to 24 years. And again, it's a very interesting population demography that this 61.88% population is also roughly divided into 50% women, females. So how can you deny education today? And what consequences would that have for future of Afghanistan? No health provision for women, because you will not have Afghan women as doctors, nurses, or caregivers. You will not have exclusive banking facilities for women. So you are going to have 50% of your population as beggars, dependent on mehrams. In case, God forbid, they don't have mehrams, what would they do? How will they sustain themselves? So are you actually thinking of an Afghanistan which is going to be a country in dark ages where 50% of the population is dependent for even a morsel of food on the other 50% of population, which is too busy fighting amongst themselves? Do we really want Afghanistan to remain a country perpetually in conflict? Why can't we have an Afghanistan, which is a country solidly based on Islamic edicts in which everyone is educated under the dictates of Islam and progressing perfectly? It was Islam which brought forward the first women's university. It was Islam that brought forward the first chemists. It was Islam that brought forward the first geographers, the first politicians. Every first in every field of the world were the Muslims. Why are we doing this to ourselves? My request to my Afghan brethren is that please don't deprive yourself from this chance to progress by thinking that for some twisted logic, disallowing women from seeking education is a better. Every day that you stop women from or girls from going to school, to their madaris, to their universities, is taking Afghanistan a minimum of 10 years back from the path of progress. Please reevaluate any policy, any impediment, local, generic, regional, that is making people think of not seeking education for girls. No one is going to become bad by seeking education. It never happens. As Ms. Fajer also said, and other people have also said, look at the curriculum. The curriculum was never bad. Our Afghan sisters, when we interacted with them, were such formidable, strong women, women of strong character, women of strong courage, women who have done so much for themselves that each and every one of them were iconic, young ladies. I never saw any one of them, even if they had returned from the West, ever dressed immodestly, speaking immodestly, or stepping out of their character. So education is not going to destroy Afghanistan society. Education is going to take Afghanistan to places that no external power, however friendly or nice to you, however money that power may offer to Afghanistan, is going to take Afghanistan. So I can only request each and every person in Afghanistan who is invested in this project to please don't take this path. If you want your country to progress, you must educate your children. You must educate the girl. One girl educated means one family educated. One family educated means one clan educated. One entire township, city educated. But in case there's a plan not to bring Afghanistan into the global world order, so this is something that you are actually bringing forward to yourself. If you want Afghanistan to break this perpetual cycle of violence and actually progress, then you have to open the field of education for everyone. But my basic and humble submission is as to why do you need to stop women from seeking education? What is making you people not to allow women to seek education? Does that make them rebellious? Nothing. So please, my last word here is allow education if Afghanistan needs to progress. If you don't allow women to educate themselves, then Afghanistan, unfortunately, or any other such country, it could be ours as well, would remain perpetually under a dark shadow of illiteracy and non-progress. Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me the space.
Dr. Salma, I just want to make it clear. Earlier, the spokesperson, Mr. Aziz Ahmad, he did state that the schools are not entirely banned, but it's postponed and they'll be opened afterwards. Because earlier we were speaking about what women will be doing after they graduate. Because earlier we know women did have a wider range of jobs to apply to, but now it's very limited. He did say that
yes, I heard the spokesperson. You see, when women will educate themselves, create spaces, many a times in our schools, when there's a school which is a primary school up to 5, and it needs to be upgraded, then you upgrade it to class 6. even if you have 2 students in that class, even if you have to put a curtain in between and a boy is sitting on one side and a girl is sitting on the other side, even if there's a female professor, nothing will happen. We do live with our mothers as well, but the very fact is that there can be 101 ways. There's online education as well. Women can sit at home and contribute to economy. Women have been working in Afghanistan. Again, I repeat, each and every Afghan woman that we have met has been extremely confident, yet very modest, yet conforming to each and every code, even under the liberal order that was here till a couple of months back. They never compromised on their Afghan culture and identity. But you need to create spaces not only for education, but also in other sectors. 50% of population, if you keep it out of economic sector, banking sector, health sector, food industry, what is going to happen to Afghanistan? That means that you're cutting down 50% on everything. So please, one has to reevaluate this entire system. Agreed. And I repeat this point, that every day postponed or denied to a girl student of Afghanistan means 10 years of bad progress for Afghanistan, retardation in progress. So please consider and reconsider this notion.
Can I just add to your point, Salma? And I think, the important thing is that when a girl or a boy, right, when they're educated, they will find their ways to work. So I think it's not about, they should be the ones creating those sectors. They should be the ones creating those opportunities for other Afghan children, may that be girl or boy. So I think this is very important. When you facilitate them, when you educate them, they will create those opportunities. Even entrepreneurship, or tech entrepreneurship, these are big things at the moment, and this is the way forward globally. And like we said before, if Afghanistan want to be part of the whole global community, global growth economically, then their children, all the children have to be educated, and they all have to be part of it, and they'll create those, children these days, they're not like us, they're very bright. They know how to seek opportunities. They know how to create those opportunities. And I think once they are educated, they will find their ways themselves.
Absolutely. And one last word that I'll say, and I hold my peace after that. The very fact that several of you are sitting in Afghanistan, various places in Afghanistan, and some of us are sitting in Pakistan, and we are having this conversation online is an opportunity. We don't need to seek visas, and yet we are conversing with one another. So this is the fundamental or the basic 101 of those opportunities available. So create an enabling environment and then see where your youth, girls and boys, take your beautiful country to. Your country deserves a very, very strong chance. Don't deny it that chance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Salma and rest of the panel. I'll take this opportunity to thank all of you, especially Fajer, Wahid Faqiri Saab, Hasiba, Effat, and Aziz Rayan, brother Aziz Rayan, who is the spokesperson from the Ministry of Education. I'll introduce our last panelist and the keynote speaker, Ambassador Najum Saqib Saab. Ambassador Najum Saqib Saab, welcome on board. And thanks a lot, sir. We are honored to have you over here. Ambassador Saab is a very renowned personality over in Pakistan. He actually served as an ambassador of Pakistan in 5 different continents. And he regularly appears on different TV channels and also on different panels and different think tanks. I will ask and request him to conclude this discussion with his remarks. Sir.
Sir, your mic's closed.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. To begin with, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. To begin with, I have to felicitate, congratulate, all the panelists, including you, Farhan, I'm very hopeful that Pakistan, Afghanistan, once again, this debate, this discussion has proved that the basic points of discussion, we think the same. May it be Mr. Aziz or Mr. Nazari or Mr. Faqiri or Ms. Pasha or Ms. Hasiba or Dr. Salma. All of them have said that education is necessary. So I, congratulate you on holding this wonderful discussion. I have learned a lot. I'm more informed and educated on this particular thing. For my take, I think all of us, we agree that girls must read. The question is, what should they read, or read what? That is what is confusing not only Afghanistan girls, but also the world at large, the curriculum. Number two, there is this misconception that the government in Kabul has banned the schools on the basis of religion. That religion, is some restriction, and Dr. Salma has very aptly explained that religion has, actually encouraged all boys and girls, all men and women to study. It is not a matter of religion. It is a matter which relates to Afghan culture, which goes beyond the inception of Islam. Islam is about 1400 years. We are talking about a culture which spans over many centuries before that. So one needs to understand that this education thing, or how the girls should behave and how the women should behave at homes and outside, it is driven by the culture and not by the religion. Religion comes later. It has its own effects, but not that much. This is one. Number two, that if I have a couple of reports in front of me, about the girls and female education, and I am amazed that why the present setup in Kabul is being, alleged that they are not encouraging education for girls' education, etc. As per a UNESCO's report, Afghanistan's female literacy rate in 2015 was among the lowest in the world at around 17%. 2015, UNESCO, 17% female literacy rate. That was 7 years ago. Around 4 years ago, on 15th of May, 2017, then First Lady of Afghanistan, Mrs. Rula Ghani, hosted a 3-day symposium entitled Afghan Women Messengers of Peace. Then President Ashraf Ghani observed that women were the biggest victims of the ongoing war in Afghanistan. I repeat, Mr. Ashraf Ghani observed that women were the biggest victims of the ongoing war in Afghanistan, which he said had prevented the war, had prevented millions of girls and women from getting an education. This is amazing. And I quote, the number of women deprived of literacy in Afghanistan is 3 times more than men. And the reason behind this is the imposed war that we are facing. This is Ashraf Ghani saying. Okay, this is Ashraf Ghani saying in 2017. Same time, in a statement, the UN Assistance Mission in Afghanistan, UNAMA, same time, 2017, expressed hope that the government would achieve its goal of increasing the proportion of women in government institutions to 30% by 2020. So it had to be increased, according to UNAMA, from 17 to 30% by 2020. Has it happened? The Afghan Education Ministry in 2017 and 2020, it said that most of the estimated 3.5 million children who do not attend school are girls. So I have given, all of you some figures from UNESCO, from the former president Ashraf Ghani, his wife, and then UNAMA, and the Ministry of Education, the former Ministry of Education. Now, what is the point here? The point here is that Afghanistan, the girls' education, rather female education, has been a chronic problem in Afghanistan. This problem is not related to the present setup. Yes, the government in power right now, Kabul, they have certain, issues about the nitty-gritties of girls going to school. But as far as the girls' education and female education in Afghanistan is concerned, it is a chronic problem. So this is my point number one. Number two is, as Ms. Hasiba, I understood many of the things that she said. She said this, masla-e corona neist. And she talked about the zehniyat. She talked about the zehniyat. And then she referred to Dukhtarane Afghanistan in a way that Dr. Salma and Ms. Pasha and everyone else has spoken, that they need education. The problem is how. My second point, which is a great misconception, not only in Afghanistan, Pakistan, in Washington, in Paris, and in London. My dear friends, Afghanistan is not Sweden. Afghanistan is neither Denmark or Australia. Afghanistan is a country which has some cultural, issues from centuries. You cannot change. And who else knows more Afghanistan culture than the United States of America? With, they stayed there for over 20 years. So to expect from people of Afghanistan and the current government to behave like a Scandinavian country is, not fair with them. Having said that, if the main issue is the recognition of Afghan government, if the main issue is that Kabul wants a seat at the United Nations, if the main issue is that Kabul wants recognition not only from America, the West, the whole of the world, and none of the countries has so far, as we speak, has recognized their government, I think they have to show flexibility. And if you recall the first 3 or 4 points that the West said that they have to do, the Taliban have to do, it included the girls' education, the human rights aspect. Now, 2 or 3 things, they need to show flexibility. Now I come straight away to the solutions which our, eminent panelists have already done. I don't have anything to add to it. But I think that if the main aim is to have recognition from the world, Afghanistan has to understand that this girls' education problem is not an educational problem, it is a political issue. Tomorrow, presume, let's hypothetically say that tomorrow the education, girls' education, boys' education is 100% tomorrow in Afghanistan by a stroke of miracle. Do you think that the United States or the West will extend recognition to the Kabul government? Just think about it. So even, if you achieve all those things which the West has imposed on Taliban, there would still be certain things that you would be asked to do. So what is the solution here? The solution here is that little bit flexibility. You do in Rome as the Romans do. You have to understand, you are asking for, some leverage, some concessions from the West, which has in turn imposed certain conditions on you. Unless you fulfill those conditions, and for that, naturally, you can't fulfill all those conditions overnight, including the girls' education. There are steps that need to be taken. There are steps that need to be taken by the present government in all spheres, all spheres of the society, including the girls' education. That yes, we are going to open, as Mr. Aziz said, and as Mr. Nazari said, that they are going to open the schools. I think the problem is with the curriculum. I think the problem is with the nitty-gritties and smaller procedural issues, not the principal issue. So they need to open the schools. They need to tell the world that we are for We are not against, we are for education of all the girls and all the, female education and boys and, the entire population of 39 million Afghanis, they will get education. They need to show some steps. Number two is that the policy, especially the foreign policy, you cannot make a foreign policy on the basis of ghairat or honor. It is a different, there are 200 countries. None of the countries in this world, all these 200 countries base their foreign policy and domestic policies not on honor, but they want to run their policies honorably. There is a difference. There is a big difference here. If you say that we are Islam, we are Muslims, we have to be Islamic and all the Islamic ways have to incorporate it in the society and Islam, there is nothing wrong with that. But what impression are you giving to the West? You are giving the impression that this is Islam, and then the 9/11 and all those things related to Islam wrongly, I repeat, wrongly, they will crop up. So what is the net result? The net result is what we are seeing right now. Nobody is recognizing the present regime in Kabul. So I think there is a need to make a distinction between honor and foreign policy running honorably. Running the foreign policy honorably and show some diplomatic flexibility. In diplomacy, you deal with a country or a set of country or a group of countries, not like as you deal with human beings or your friends or enemies. Your foreign policy must be based on your national interest. And if I ask you, what is the national interest of Kabul right now? What is your answer, my dear friends? Naturally, you want to prosper. Naturally, you want to stabilize your economy. Naturally, you want to have, one seat in the United Nations. Naturally, you want to be a part of the Committee of Nations. Now, if you base your argument only on Al-Quran or all the hadiths and whatever Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that would be very, very good. But you have to deal with the outer world. To deal with the outer world, you need to have, some language, some sloganeer, some kind of foreign policy which is able to penetrate on those thick minds of West, which have bracketed Afghanistan, an Islamic state, a Taliban state, and all kinds of wrong things associated with this government. So to sum it up, I would say that all the panelists have said that girls' education is a must. I agree with that, and please, register my vote of consent on this particular point as well. All girls, all boys, all people should be allowed education. This is one of the basic fundamental rights. Number two, the curriculum, you need to, we are ready, we are in Islamabad, we are ready to be consulted by you or by the Education Ministry in Afghanistan. Let us sit down. You can come here, you can call us over there, and let us talk about the curriculum. A curriculum which suits the culture and religion in Afghanistan and suits the Western conditions also. So once that curriculum is fixed, is accepted and recognized, then there won't be any problem for the West to know that yes, there is a change in the policy in Kabul. Okay. Taliban are not solely responsible for poor female education in Afghanistan, a point that I have made, but it is very difficult to put it across to the West. West knows it very well, as they have first-hand knowledge of this flaw. They stayed in Afghanistan for 20 years. Female education has always been a matter of concern in Afghanistan. It will remain, even if tomorrow the Taliban government is recognized. Female education is going to be one of the basic problems for which a long-term planning is needed. And even for that, in Islamabad, all of us, Dr. Salma and all our colleagues, Ms. Pasha, etc., we are here to help you. Come to us. We can guide you. We can guide you how to go about it. Nothing will happen overnight. The main thing is that political issues cannot be severed, cannot be separated from the internal domestic issues as far as the world is concerned, as far as West is concerned, and particularly as far as United States is concerned. We need to initiate a dialogue, first begin from Pakistan, and then let us try to make them understand that we have started taking certain steps which are necessary for female education. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador Saab. I would like to ask Aziz if he wants to add any comments on this. Aziz Saab, taso kung comment lari malmanot ka huwa yast. Mr. Aziz.
I think he cannot listen you, so we can conclude this session now. Farhan, you may conclude the session and proceed with the.
So to wrap it all up, we did hear some comments from Aziz Saab. He did say that the schools are not actually banned but postponed, and they need to have the facilities facilitated to open the schools. But from what we have learned from previous interviews from the Ministry of Education, there is something higher up that's not letting the schools be opened. And thank you everyone for leaving your comments on the discussion. And
I would like to add, I'll take this opportunity to add one comment over here in the end. Yesterday, the Minister of Education from Afghanistan, he issued a statement and he ensured the media and the public as well that the schools will be reopened pretty soon, inshallah. They haven't given any timeline this time, but I think because of the internal pressure and the pressure from their own ranks and files is working, and they are reconsidering to reopen the schools after a short break, inshallah. Aziz also said the same thing, that the school issue that has been discussed over here, the schools are not banned, or the education for the girls is not banned, but yeah, there is some kind of disparity among the higher ranking officials of Emirate, and that is why the reconsideration is also there, because many prominent scholars from their own ranks and files have also issued verdicts and have requested the, Habatullah Khwanzada, the Amir of Emirate, to reconsider their decision and open their school. So I think and I hope that this decision will be reverted and the schools will be open in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Faqiri Saab, Hasiba, Effat, Fajer, Rabia, Pasha, Dr. Salma, Aziz, Brother Aziz from the ministry, and Ambassador Najum Saqib Saab for being here, for giving your inputs and making this discussion a very fruitful and something from where we can all learn. Thank you once again. We'll wrap up the discussion over here and see you all very soon, inshallah, on some other topic. Thank you.
Thank you all.